Hi, my name is Sarafel, and I like to give my dolls new faces inspired by things that I like. Today, we'll be giving a new face to this core Abbey. But we won't be giving her a new face until a lot later, and that's because she has polypropylene. Today we're gonna find out if my hatred of poly is stronger than my hatred of rerouting. Also, I wouldn't really constitute this as a tutorial. I'm sure there's other people who are a lot more eloquent in their videos about rerouting, so this is just this is how I do it type of video, and you're here along for the ride. Also, yeah, I just ran my fingers through her hair, and look at that. That's the beauty of poly, baby. I already had a certain look in mind for her, but there's no better time than now to chop it off. Going through my stock box, and this is what's left of the nylon that I had for my original Abbey reroute. It says frosted tier, but in reality this is like 3 blends of hair. It's like white, purple, and this color. So I'm actually going to do something a little out of my comfort zone. I'm gonna give her a quote-unquote crazy hair color. I'm gonna be using this red wine color from dollyhair.com. I already have it cut in Barbie long, so I think I don't have to do any cutting myself. My other option would be a white saran, but white saran isn't exactly white. It leans yellow, and it will also yellow over time based on how you display and store your dolls. So I don't think the yellowing is going to look very flattering on her. It's also the fact that her arms are also kind of yellow already, and I don't like the way that looks. Here we go. She's ready. There's something cathartic about cutting all the hair off your doll. Ideally, you should try to get as close to the scalp as possible because it'll just be a lot easier when you're ripping the plugs out from the inside, but I give up. I'm gonna regret it later, but good enough. I'm gonna go pop her head off with boiling water now. She was guillotined. First order of business is to chop off this thing, because the only thing that holds the head in place is this bottom part here, so you don't need this top part. Yes, my tools look dirty. They're my dad's. If you look like really close inside the neck peg, you can see that it's white. That just means there's like stress marks on it, and that's how you break the neck peg. So when you take the head off, just be careful and try to pay attention to those stress marks. This is where cutting the hair really short would have come in handy, because it's just a lot easier to pull all the hair plugs out. There's nothing I can do about that now. I want to be especially careful around the part because that's where the holes are the biggest. It's kind of satisfying watching the hair get pulled through the holes though. She's bold! She's bold and she's torturing people over here! So some people go straight into the rerouting process right after this, but I learned a trick where if you boil the head, it'll shrink the holes of the vinyl. So 1, your hair is less likely to fall out, and 2, these holes will also need less hair to fill in. And I think it helps with like the possibility of the vinyl ripping, especially on like the part area like this. Also, I need to wash off the dirt from the screwdriver, so be right back. After leaving the head in some hot water for 30 seconds to a minute, look at how much the holes have shrunk. Once you're sure the inside of the head is dry, it's now time to start on the reroute. I use size 8 embroidery needles cut at an angle and individually separate about 20 to 30 plugs worth of hair at a time. It is currently 12:16 a.m. and I finished. I did thatching up here too.
It's not that good, but hopefully with the boil wash it won't look as spotty as it does, but this is record timing for me when it comes to a reroot. I've only ever finished like a reroot in like 3 or 4 days, so to do this all in one day is kind of crazy. She needs glue, and then I will leave her overnight to dry.
It's the next day. I just finished boil washing her hair flat and she's a little bald. That's okay, because I had a feeling she was gonna be really thin, because one, I just couldn't believe I finished a reroot that fast. Something had to have gone wrong, and it was already looking a little spotty like yesterday when I was holding it dried, but look at how much hair I have left. Usually when I do reroots, I'd have like at least this much left, but this is how much hair that she's missing. So I'm just going to take her head off and plug some holes where it looks a little thin. I especially think it looks thin in the front here, for sure. And probably just go through her head and plug some more, maybe around here as well, where like I first started, because that's where it looks really thin, but that's okay. It's easier to add hair afterwards than it is to take out hair, and I would have rathered me doing this than being upset that her head looked too bulky, so it's okay. Here we go again. We're finally at the face-up stage, but first I have to remove her original face. So I fixed her rooting. She's still a little thin, but it's good enough in my opinion. When they're thinly rooted, you can honestly make a bit more intricate hairstyles on them. I'm saying that like I'm gonna give her an intricate hairstyle, but that'll be my excuse for why the bottom of her head is so thin. But her part looks fine, and just trust me on that, because I've already covered up her hair. It would be fun if you just saw the progress. Wouldn't it be more fun if you just saw the completed look at the end with everything? I don't know. So I'm mostly concerned because the last time I tried to do a look using red on Abbey, it just didn't look right. And I think it's because I was using too many warm tones on her. Of course it wasn't gonna look good because she's very cool toned. So hopefully this time I can get the right tones down and I won't have to start over like I did my first Abbey. I don't know. I say I don't like rerooting, but after finishing this Abbey, I'm kind of in like a little bit of a reroot kick. I don't know what's wrong with me. Also, I'm aware I didn't record that much of my process of rerooting her, mostly because, again, I don't really consider myself a tutorial person. I kind of just record videos so you can see my process, but I wouldn't say I'm like teaching anyone how to do anything. If you're interested in seeing me reroot, just let me know, and I do have a few more poly demons that need to be rerooted. Let me know. Okay, you know the drill. Gonna wash this off and then 2 starting layers of Mr. Super Clear.
We've finally gotten to the face up. As usual, I'm starting with my sketch in a color close to her skin tone. I started doing a forward glance like all my other dolls, but I felt like her eyes just looked so big. I decided to give her a side glance instead. With the sketch done, it's finally time to add color. I was really drawn towards a monochrome look, so I decided her lines would be mostly done in this cool toned red to match her wine-colored hair. In a way, this directly contrasts my first Abbey with her monochrome blue look. It's kind of a full circle moment. It was around here when I started doubting myself about how she would turn out. I worked on the rest of this layer off camera, so I'll go into a bit more detail while you watch me work on this next layer. So, once again, I was inspired by the makeup artist Arya Flair on Instagram. What can I say, their looks are just so ethereal, and I just feel compelled to convert all their looks into doll form. I took inspiration from about 2 or 3 looks, as well as a few other similar red alternative Chinese makeup looks that I've seen floating around on Pinterest to get where I am now. Basically, the essence is red. Red mascara or liner, red contacts, red eyeshadow. I added black and blue to add more dimension to the look. I wanted a bitten gradient lip, so earlier I used my red pencil and matching red pastel directly in the lip crease. I used a super pale purple mixed with pink on the actual lips to help diffuse the color and get that gradient effect. We're on to the final layer. As usual, I'm getting all the lashes out of the way first before I finish building up the rest of the colors. I tried sketching Abby's tusks using my white pencil, but they weren't showing up very well. But that's fine, I'll just Hail Mary and hope for the best. Abby's lip mold has a slight gap in it, and I rarely get to do this, so I fill in that gap with white so she has an open mouth look. I then outlined the white paint with red just to get that bitten look back. Off camera, I sketched on some graphic liner or face tattoos, kind of. And with her catch lights, she's finally come to life. I also lined the accents with some black acrylic for extra contrast. Off camera, I glossed her lips, irises, and accents after her 2 final sprays of Mr. Super Clear. I don't paint my nails as often as I'd like because of all the work I do with acetone during doll customizing, so of course my dolls will get nail art instead. I give Abby's nails a white base before I draw on some random designs in black. The nails are sealed with a gloss varnish. Here's the final look for my customized Abbey Abominable. After I finished the reroute, she reminded me so much of Silgi for accidentally on purpose, so I tried to give her an outfit with the sort of similar vibe. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to leave any questions, comments, or critiques for me, and I hope to see you in the next one.